Welcome back to Nick Lenz's Comic Corner Classic Less Known Classics. This is episode number 2606 and Doubleshot number 2500. I'm thinking, wow, the 2500 Doubleshot. Yep. So, what are we discussing for this one? We're discussing the last 14 issues, of when this series was called Justice League Europe, issues 3750, along with its third and final annual, when it was called during that before they changed its name, which I'll get to that. And we're also discussing Showcase Presents Hawkman, Volume 1, Volume 2. I discussed a while ago. Now, all of these issues here are written by Joe Jones. The artwork is done by Ron Randall, who the artwork is really, really good here. And can you believe this stuff only came out from 92 to 93? Yeah. So, still good times though. We had the first issue open up with Power Girl getting her costume zipped up. Yes, we see her back. Her very firm back. Yes. This is how Ron Randall opened the issue. And also in this room is basically Crimson Fox and Dr. Light. Yep, it's Elongated Man, and it's all about preparing for a party. And Power Girl's got a brand new costume where it's white and blue. It's got a full-blown jumpsuit, but still has the boob window. Yep. Oh, and by the way, the lineup for this version of Justice League Europe is, aside from having Crimson Fox, Power Girl, and Dr. Light Elongated Man, who are the other members, you might ask? Well, it is Wally West Flash, Aquaman. I think that's it. Yeah. So, fighting this guy, and we see this other person here who's in this group with them. I think he must be their, how should I put this? Let's see, what's this guy's name here? I think I guessed the lamp correctly. Yes, I did. It's Batman. Yep, it's Batman. Sue Dibney's here. We also have first appearance of Destructoro. Yes, this annoying guy here who appears for these 3 issues. He doesn't do much anything. He's more of an annoyance. He only appears for these 3 issues. And Batman is here to try to improve his reputation. That's most of the reason why he's here. And they're here in London, of all places. And, of course, they fight him. And, of course, they even asked him after this is over with, can you have him basically join the roster of the team as a leader? He declines. And instead, of course, by issue 40, by the end of the issue, we have the return of, Hal Jordan by the end of 39. Yep. Hal Jordan returns to the roster, and he remains part of this roster even after the retelling, which I'll get to that. So, Books has him as a leader, and, after the truck was basically done with, Hal Jordan's welcome back to the team. They do a cuff-on. They also get a phone call from Max Lord. There's also a joke in here where he has to go beat up Guy Gardner because he wants his sector back. And there was also, reading the issue itself, there's also an advertisement for Guy Gardner's solo book, which came out not long after this. I have reviewed some issues of it already as part of a crossover known as Way of the Warrior, which are a few issues of the book itself. And you might be curious, who wrote that book? Originally was Joe Jones. So, at this point in time, Joe Jones wrote this book. He wrote, as far as I can tell, he was also in Green Lantern, the Guy Gardner book, 4-star Green Lantern Warrior. I believe he was also in Green Lantern Mosaic. I think this came out around the same period of time as this book. And later on, he did write Justice League America. He wrote 5 books. I never found these issues, any books he wrote particularly bad, per se. Not really. yes, I do know about Batman Jazz and um, the Fortunate Son one shot, which is basically a very laughably bad book. So there's also something with Metamorpho in this book. And Cthulhu is here for the next few issues, and the lineup itself doesn't really much change. They also deal with that, and then, of course, by issue number 42, Wonder Woman joins the roster. Yep, Metamorpho is also back in the roster, too. And this kind of remains in the lineup, and, of course, by issue number... Well, in 43, this is quite interesting, where there basically is there's this very lucky gambler who turns out to be Artemis Fortune. Now, Elongated Man does not know about this guy. For good reason, because he was not on the roster that period of time for Justice League. Lucky enough that Aquaman and Hal Jordan remember him. Yep. Those of you who know who Artemis Fortune is, Artemis Fortune is a wealthy gambler who was also known for being the founder of a very well-known supervillain group that fought the Justice League. And you have seen him pop up on Justice League, the anime TV show, and Batman Beyond. Who are they? The Real Flush Gang. They have nothing to do with the story itself, it's just Artemis Fortune just happened to be here. Yes, there's also spirits of Duke Donald. He is like a recurring character for this. They're basically in Bristol. Is the current base of operation because they were in Paris at one point. Yeah, and it had been some time since basically he accounted the Justice League. If you're really curious, like, when was the last time officially he met the Justice League? I mean, prior to this book was, and let's see if I can, let's see, is this one? No, it's not that one. It's this one. Because it's been a long, at this point in time. Okay, so the last time we felt the Justice League was back in Justice League America number 184, released in 1981. And this came out in 1982, roughly 11 years later. Yeah, so he's dealt with for one issue, and actually for a couple issues here. I mean, it's quite interesting the fact they threw in an old villain, and then we begin a 6-parter known as Red Winter. It's mostly put the Red Rocket Brigade going nuts. Yes, that's mostly put exactly what this... And they're all being manipulated by an old Green Lantern villain named Sonar, who, for some reason, Ron Randall decided to give him an updated costume. I do not know why in the world they did this for, but they did. They gave him a brand new costume. Also, there's also a thing in here about Power Girl, because the whole thing with her is that she's possibly a Atlantean, and she tries to seduce so she looks like she's about to get with Aquaman, because I think at this point in time, this is before probably before Peter David started his really good run for the book, so he was separated from his wife, and also later on, Power Girl later made out with Hal Jordan. Yes, seriously. And if you're curious about Sonar's brand new attire for the early 1980s, here he is. Yep, that is Sonar. And let me check, is it the same guy? Yep, same guy. Yeah. Now, why in the world they basically decided let's give him an updated costume for no reason. He's basically the main villain of the story arc. Yes, Sonar. We also first parents a woman named Maya, who becomes a member of the Justice League, who actually joins. She's a brand new character, and then she joins the group for the last few issues before it gets restarted, which I'll get to that. Yeah, it debuts in issue number 47. And if you're curious, when did she officially join the group? Well, by issue 48, they kind of basically had also... Yeah, they also debuted this whole thing of the Justice League Reserves, which is comprised of Black Canary, Blue Jay, Journal Glory, Huntress, Metamorpho, and Mr. Miracle and Tasmanian Devil. Yeah, in these last few issues, for some reason, the storyline happened to involve the JSA. Now, from what I read online, apparently prior to this storyline, there was supposed to be a planned crossover between the Justice League and Justice League Justice Society of America in the 1990s. This ultimately happened due to the fact the book got canceled due to an idiot editor who thought that, oh, senior citizens don't sell. I'm like, well, what's wrong with the JSA? Yeah, this editor was a complete idiot. Yes, seriously, was not canceled due to low sales. Yes, despite what maybe DC claimed, well, I read the editor was a complete moron. So, this is a result basically of a planned cross between both books, and it's really, really good here. Mm-hmm. Yep. And also, they end up finding basically a brainwashed version, the brainwashed Global Guardians. They'll do with Eurocrime and Justice League. It's like a full blown. And we have basically a full blown like brawl happening in 49. And then 50 basically is, well, a change of form for the book. You're thinking, really? Yes, issue 50 is basically where, in this issue, the Justice League Europe disbands and basically changes its name to Justice League International. Yes, they're the brand new version of the team, and the book gets retitled with this with issue number 51. Also, Hawkman quits the team with Crimson Fox, a brand new one. The sister of the other one who was part of the roster, yeah, she she basically joins the group as Crimson Fox along with Maya and the Tasmanian Devil. Yep, Eurocrime is basically just a criminal group who appears in these issues. Apparently, first pages have elongated, man. Yep. And they're comprised of Toad in the Hole, Ludafist, Gyro, Eligarch, Wasselwolf, and Kalmar. Wasselwolf is obviously German. Yeah, it's like, okay, let's basically recruit a bunch of minor villains to fight the JLU for a few issues. Yep, and that sadly puts the final issue Just Like Europe. Before I get to my final thoughts on what was known Just Like Europe, let's talk about basically the third annual. The third annual is basically part of the Eclipso Darkness Within storyline, where basically Power Girl and Dr. Light, a lot of people get possessed by Eclipso, but basically, well, it's mostly just the Flash, Wally West, Green Hal Jordan, and Power Girl all get possessed by Eclipso for the storyline. That's really all it is. If you want to get full detail, basically, of this full storyline, check out basically comic. I'm basically going to put in the description Comic Pop's review. They did a whole review of this whole entire epic storyline. And this, I didn't know this. Apparently, there is no trade, no omnibus that collects this storyline at all. Like, there have been some of the annuals collected, but all in one book? Nope, not really. Not really at all. But final thoughts of the book when it was known as Justice League Europe. This book was pure awesomeness at its finest. I loved this book. Yep. 50 great issues by really good writers. Though J. Matthias did leave the book after 11 issues to get replaced by Joel Jones with issue number 12, who basically wrote it into the final issue before it was retitled to be Justice League International issue 51. Does leave me thinking. Usually nowadays, if a book gets retitled due to is also to a relaunch numbering. That's indeed true. That's also a Marvel trope, and it's really stupid. It's like, Marvel's a Frankie book number book going. Yeah, I don't know why. But I'm going to give Justice League Europe issues 3750. I give those issues a 10 out of 10. And I give the annual, I'm going to give it a 9. Alright. So next up is an actual trade, but I have the issues here. I have the book in front of me, so here we go. Basically, this is Showcase Presents Hawkman, Volume 2. Yes. Which I collected these following issues. And I collected Hawkman, issues from the first volume of the series, issues 12 through 27, the Atom, number 31, Atom and Hawkman, 39 to 45, Brave and Bold, number 70, and I think that's it. Now, what happens over the course of these books? Well, in the case of Hawkman, I heard that the reason why that the book itself ended after only just 27 issues, the reason, not a big seller for DC. No, not really. Yeah, so it's mostly put. They have basically Hawkman, Hawkgirl fighting thieves in issue 12. Written by the way, these issues are all written by Gardner Fox. Yeah, he does the whole entire book. Mm-hmm. And then fight up against basically basically frost giants. You're thinking, wow, that sounds really cool. And then basically then we have Caw, Crime Alliance, the World. Yep. And this was a brief return to the group, which after issue 14, they're never seen again. Yep, they pretty much disband right after this issue. Yep. I love the hurry, hurry, hurry. The monster's hand is quicker than your ice. Early blast to scourge human race. Yeah, a lot of the books basically here, these issues mostly about battling aliens or criminals. Like in issue 16, battles a flying gorilla. I'm not kidding about that flying gorilla. And then we have issue 17, you have a double feature for this one. Basically of Hawkman taking on some bird, the robbing raven. And the backup story is just basically just Hawkman, Hawkgirl deal with jewel thieves. Yep. Issue 18 has a guest appearance by Adam Strange to take on the Manhawks. Yep. Which are an enemy of Hawkman. Yeah. Yeah, in the case of Hawkman and Adam Strange, these two will be long-term allies still to this very day. They even had a mini-series that were just called under the name Hawkman and Adam Strange, but was retitled to Death of Hawkman for marketing purposes. It was going to be called Hawkman and Adam Strange Out of Time. That was the original title of the mini-series, but was changed to Death of Hawkman for marketing purposes. Who told me that? Aaron Lipsey, the guy who did the artwork for the book. Yep, that's simple, basically what we got there. Yep. Issue 19 continued. Now, if you're curious, how many issues in a row does basically Hawkman deal with the Manhawks? The Manhawks. They're basically there just for 18 and 19, and then they don't return the book until volume 4, until volume 2. As reoccurring villains. Well, actually, the main Hawkman broke down to volume 4 with a different writer in the book. Mm-hmm. Yep. In issue 20, we deal with a villain known as Lion Mane. Yep. Lion Mane. He was the second story. Yeah, Carl deal with some mythological stuff and then deal with Lion Mane, the backup story. Lion Mane. This is his debut appearance. And if you're curious, and he's in 2021. He returns in volume 2, and then he becomes a recurring villain for a different Hawkman. So after 2 issues of battling him, and then 22, basically he battles someone called Falcon, who's only here. He's a one-shot character. There are some issues that are considered part of the Crisis Compendium. They say list this comic as part of it, as part of this Earth 32 thing, because this is one of those issues. Yeah, for some reason, the final issue is, by the way, Garden Fox's last issue was 21. And then for the final issues of the series, like for 22, it's Bob Haney who takes over the writing duties, with Dick Dillon the artwork. Don't know why. Then we have in issue 23, written by Richie Hughes. Yeah, basically it's Hawkman versus like a giant dinosaur. Yeah, they basically deal with dinosaurs or more aliens throughout the remainder of the issues of the book. And 24 is on Arnold Drake. 25 is back to Bob Haney, where in 25 they battle freaking Medusa and a Minotaur. Like, okay, interesting. In 26, basically, the backup story is a reprint. It's a reprint of Real Fat Comics #1. The opening story is basically going back to the Thanagar, and then coming back. It's Bob Haney doing this issue. And in the final issue of the book, it's them versus Snow People. That's it. Yeah. So, they only have the story continue in the pages of Adam and Hawkman. Now, there are some issues where they team up, and some issues where it's a split book. And the reason why I heard that they did this, because both books were not selling very well, so combine them to one. And it didn't last very long. Lasted for 7 issues, the book got canceled altogether. Yes. Though, Hawkman did appear in issue 31 as a quick guest star. Yep, he appeared in 31 as a guest star. No, not that one. Thank you. Yep, they have him appear as a quick guest star to take on a guy called Tomboy. Or Toy Boy. Which, when I look at this guy, he looks like basically the Puppeteer. Yeah, he's just a one-shot character. It's like, okay, so... But here's the thing. They actually brought this guy into continuity recently. Yeah. Yeah, and kind of in a way, when I look at basically the post-crisis version, he reminds me a lot of Toy Man from Superman. Yep. Yeah, and mostly put basically just... Yeah, Robert Kaniger writing issue 39. Issue 40 is basically a split book where the opening story is by Gardner Fox and the backup story. The opening story, we did the final appearance of Major Mela, who is basically Ray Palmer's bird. Yeah, this is basically his last appearance. And the backup story is just basically a Hawkman book. Hawkman story. In issue 41, it's a split book. Mostly put, yeah, Hawkman, the backup story. Just more adventures with him. Oh, if you're curious who does basically the story for him, it's Gardner Fox with the late Joe Kubert. In issue 42, we're back to the team-up thing. We're take on Bashenhu. Yes, who actually does return after this. Yes, he does. After this one issue, his next actual appearance is in New Teen Titans, number 19. No, seriously, that's actually his next appearance. Yep, we're getting to the very end of this book, don't worry. By the way, 42 is done by Denny O'Neil. And then 43, we have them take on the Gentleman Ghost. Yep, in the opening story. The backup story is an Adam book. But I'll talk about the Adam another time. In 44, still deal with the Gentleman Ghost. And it's Robert Kaniger back. And in the final issue of the book, issue 45, it's basically just deal with this one-shot character. That's pretty much it. But then, of course, there's also this Brave and Bold issue. Issue 70. Or Batman teams up with Hawkman. Story written by Bob Haney. It's mostly put them taking on a guy called the Collector. Yep. I've always really enjoyed this period of time when it comes to Brave and Bold. Yeah. By the way, by the time Neil Adams comes on board the book, the Whirly Bat, that gets retired and gets more serious. So, what is my ranking for Showcase Presents Hawkman Volume 2? Very interesting book, per se. It's Silver Age stuff. I find some of the other stuff be really interesting. But I'm going to give the book a 9 out of 10. Now, the next time we talk about Hawkman will be Spotlight stuff. But you might be thinking, which one? Well, there's about 3 different Spotlight books. There is Detective Comics, Showcase, and World's Finest. I kind of wish basically these books were in trade, so I have to do this. So I'm going to start first with Detective and Showcase. Well, yeah, I'm going to do all the... I'm going to Detective and Showcase, basically those issues. I'll probably do World's Finest another time. And then I'll worry about the... there's more books for Hawkman after that, but for self-titled books. The next one is the Shadow War of Hawkman. And then there's Hawkman Volume 2, which is like 17 issues. And then, of course, there is the one I really love, and I really hope I get a chance to talk about this book, Hawk World. Yep. So, that's pretty much it, particular view. I'm going to go ahead and do one more Comic Corner. I'll call it a night. So, please be sure to like, comment, subscribe, turn on notifications, and also, please do not hit that dislike button. Okay? Next video.